Hey guys, welcome to Crazy Burger. Today we're going to be looking at the brand new cart released on the Evercade Gaelco Arcade 2. Let's get started. Okay guys, so here we have the new cart Gaelco Arcade 2. Now the first cart was 6 games as well, and it was really good. Is this cart going to be as good as the first one? Let's find out. So we've got 6 games. The 6 games are Big Karnak, World Rally 2, TH Strikes Back, Thunderhoop 2, Maniac Square, Squash and Touch and Go. Is this as good as the first cart? Hard to say. Let's have a quick look at the cartridge. There's the cartridge itself. Inside the box we've actually got some collectible cards. I guess these are kind of like mini posters, but they are quite solid cards. You've got Maniac Square, Big Karnak, and World Rally 2. There's only actually 4 unfortunately, so we're obviously 2 games missing, but I suppose that's quite a nice addition, but utterly pointless for me. Don't really care. So we've got about Gaelco. It tells you how to actually pronounce it. I'm pretty sure myself and pretty much everyone else has been pronouncing it completely different, like Gaelco, 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 anything like that, but it's actually pronounced Gaelco. I guess that's good to know. Anyway, they're a Spanish arcade company that released a lot of arcade games through the 90s and 80s, and most of them never actually made it onto consoles, which is a bit of a shame. But this one, there's the first one, Big Karnak. It's kind of a scrolling slash 'em up, so to speak. Definitely keep your eye on these manuals. There are lots of little tips here to actually help you. We've got World Rally 2, which interestingly was probably more like a 2-player game for the arcades rather than a single player, so it'll be interesting to see how that's working. We've got Thunderhoop 2. The first game was fantastic, and this one looks really good as well. So this is it's got an interesting part there, the little screen and animation that has never previously been seen by the public. Interesting. And there's a little comic strip here that's been added to the middle of the manual, which is actually a really nice touch. It's quite cool. This is the start of the game, the sort of intro that you will see. Maniac Square, which is clearly a kind of a column style game. Very welcome indeed, like those type of games, especially on your handheld. You've got Squash, Touch and Go, and yeah, spot the deliberate error on the manual here. This is clearly not Squash, unless there's been some additions to the game, but that kind of looks a bit like Astyanax on the Gaelco collection. Anyway, Touch and Go. We've got a sort of, obviously beach volleyball style game. Not sure we really need that, but anyway, we won't diss it too much until we've actually played it. One thing I want to sort of point out is probably the text on the middle part here probably isn't the best, to be honest. There's a few sort of errors here and there. It looks a little bit, you know, that the text isn't quite justified or centered properly, but just a little pick. Anyway, still nice to get these manuals in the boxes. Let's have a quick go at some of the games on the handheld before we boot it on to the VS. Now for me, this is probably my preferred way of playing a lot of these games, on the handheld rather than on the VS. Some games I think definitely play better on the handheld, and this is definitely one of them for me. I definitely prefer playing World Rally on the handheld rather than the VS. It just felt a little bit more comfortable and just felt right.
Ready.
Nope.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, crash. Very easy to do. Absolutely fantastic. I really love this game. One thing I sort of need to note here is that actually playing this game on a large TV is really difficult. I found that the graphics were really sort of blending a little bit and it really hurt my eyes. Playing on the handheld for me is the best way of doing it, or playing on a small monitor is probably more ideal rather than a big TV. But anyway guys, without further ado, let's get this on to the VS and we'll play through all the games, give you my thoughts, what the cart's like and what the games are like. Okay guys, here we go with Piko Gaelco Arcade Collection 2, obviously a spelling mistake at the top left hand corner. It's the Gaelco Arcade Collection 2 cart, and we've got your 6 games that we've already sort of highlighted and been through. It's a good sort of variety, probably more variety than the first cart, but we're going to start with Big Karnak, which according to this blurb is probably the most well known of Gaelco's games. Personally, never actually heard of it, funny enough. It's one of their earliest games as well. Obviously it's set in Egypt and it's a kind of a scrolling hack and slash game, but yeah, let's get stuck into it. Pretty straightforward to actually play. So here we go, it's pretty straightforward, it's a sort of hack and slash. It's pretty basic to be honest, but it kind of grows on you the more you actually play it. Some of the enemies take one hit, some take two, some of them reappear again. Sometimes you lose your sword, you can actually then pick up again from other enemies. And that's really it. You've got a few bosses at the end of each level, you're supposed to sort of progress through the level. And that's pretty much it. It is actually pretty tricky at times. It's not my favourite game on the cart to be honest, but it does definitely improve the more you actually play it. I think having the save states on the Evercade, and obviously you've got the continues that you can just keep pressing and keep playing, so you can really just enjoy it for what it is. It's not amazing, but it is pretty good. It's definitely not a bad game at all. There's plenty of stages here to get your teeth stuck into and some crazy bad bosses that take forever to actually die. But you know, it is what it is. It's a simple hack and slash game and it's a pretty decent one at that. And amazingly, there's also a little bit of hanky-panky in the game. Not sure there's time for that, come on. Okay guys, so moving on to the second game, Maniac Square, which is quite clearly a column style game. It's a puzzle game where you can actually play 2 players at the same time, and it's pretty straightforward, it's pretty simple. You need to match up 3 or more colours horizontally, vertically or even diagonally, pretty much just like columns. And yeah, that's basically it. It's pretty simple. This one's probably ideal for playing the handheld while you're maybe on a travel on the bus or something. But for me, there's probably not a lot to this game. It is good, there's nothing wrong with it, it just gets a little bit boring pretty quickly. But it's a decent game, don't get me wrong, it is a very good game. I just feel it's not the most exciting game you'll play in the world. And it kind of lacks a little bit of, I guess, addictive nature that probably what made Columns and Tetris really successful and very well liked. But don't get me wrong, it is a good game, there's no doubt, it is a good game. So you can see on the right hand side of the screen is basically you're against the time. The green line is where you have your lines. The more lines you get, the further up you go, and then you can see the red line is the time, which is constantly going. So the more lines you get and the more you stay ahead of that red, that's basically the goal. You need to get there before the red line does. So basically you're just trying to get as many lines as possible, and obviously that will get harder as the game actually goes on. Okay guys, on to the third game, and it's squash. Yeah, I know what you're saying, what the heck, it's a squash game, but this game is actually really good fun. Obviously there's not a heck of a lot of squash games out there, and this one is pretty simple to play. There's only a few sort of moves, sort of hit the ball hard or soft depending where you are. It's pretty straightforward, and you know something, it's very, very addictive. It just seems bonkers that we've got a squash game, but yeah, this could actually be quite popular, and obviously you can play it as 2-player as well, and you've got a choice of different players that you can actually choose from. Not sure what difference it actually makes, but yeah, it's very, very addictive. I've actually played squash in real life and it's absolutely crazy. Spot the censorship there in the crowd, hopefully you did as well, but it's pretty straightforward. There's a lot of great animations from the characters, and you need to obviously keep the ball within the red lines. There are a few rules here and there, pretty straightforward. In the serve you need to hit between that top bar there, and don't hit the ball below the bottom one where the grey and all the advertisements are. And that's it, you really need to get the first to 9 basically, but on this arcade version you run out of sort of credits, I think after 4 or 5 faults, and you have to put more credits in to play on the game. But you know, it's so addictive. I think this would be an amazing 2-player game with someone else in the same room. I think that would be real good fun. But as a single player, it's really good fun as well. There's different stages. I think there's up to maybe 9, 10 stages or something like that. It's really good. I like this game. Don't know why, but I found myself really, really enjoying it. And I hope I'm not the only one, because it seems a bit weird. But it's good. I really like it. I do. It's very good.
3, 4. 4, 5. Must go.
Okay guys, moving on to Thunder Hoop 2. Now the first game was obviously on the original Gaelco Arcade cart, and it was absolutely fantastic. A really good game. Pretty hard at times, right enough. But this is obviously the sequel, which hasn't obviously appeared in any consoles or anything like that over the years, which is a massive shame, because this is such an amazing game. And yeah, okay, Thunder Hoop has grew up, and 10 years have passed since the events of the original, blah blah blah. And there's a funny fact about player 2 sprite. You can play 2 players at the same time. If that makes it any easier, I do not know. But yeah, let's get stuck into Thunder Hoop 2. Real looking forward to this one. There's the controls.
I'll be back.
Okay guys, just thought for the heck of it I'd just let the intro actually play since it is pretty cool. But let's move on to the actual game. You can see Thunderhoop has pretty much grew up, he's all pretty much muscular and a full grown man. But this game is more ferocious than the first game, more action packed. Yep, you will die 1,000 times again, but obviously you've got the continue, just keep continuing and playing on, which is fine. But what a game this is, it's absolutely tremendous fun. This is what arcade games are all about. Absolutely crazy fun that just never ends. There's lots of crazy bad guys, there's blood and there's gore. Kind of surprised it didn't get censored a little bit, but glad it didn't. It's absolutely fantastic. A great action packed game. It's really difficult not to love this game at all. Definitely for me it's definitely better than the original game, and I definitely have to take my hat off to Blaze because I think they've done a fantastic job in emulating these games. Because these games are not easy to play, specifically World Rally 2 and Thunderhook 2. If you try and play these games on an emulator handheld such as the Anbernic devices, you will struggle and they will not play for the best part. It is possible to play them, but a lot of the time you'll find that these games do not run or will just struggle to run. So hats off to Blaze, they've done a fantastic job emulating these games to even play fantastic on the handheld as well as the VS. You see here there's a boss at every end of every level. You just need to work out what to actually do. Good fun, amazing action packed game. I really love this. It's going to be one I'll be playing for some time. I think it's absolutely fantastic, really good. It's a great action game. Okay guys, now sadly I have to report there was a small bug in the game I played. I was going back to an old save state on this boss here, and then the game actually froze and I couldn't actually make progress, and even though I went back to that save state again, it just was even worse and no boss actually appeared. So I've reported this to Blaze and they are going to release a firmware update that should obviously fix this. But going back to a previous save before this one actually helped. And it fixed itself out eventually, and it was actually fine, and obviously I'm now playing and eventually completed this boss. But just beware of that, there may be some save state issues here and there, so save your game often if you do, so you've got something to go back to so you don't get frustrated and have to start all the way back at the beginning again. A little bit of a shame, but hopefully Blaze will fix that sometime soon. Okay guys, on to Touch and Go, which is a beach volleyball style game. I think we've actually got a few volleyball games on Evercade, so not entirely sure why we need another one, but thankfully this one is actually really good. It is actually very simple to play. It obviously can be played as a two-player game. There is only one button, so as you can read here, it is very simple. It is very easy to pick up, unlike some of the other games on the Evercade with beach volleyball. This one is actually very easy to play, which makes a massive difference. As you can see here, it makes it actually really good fun to play. Never thought I'd hear myself saying that, but this one is actually good fun. Very simple, very easy, and I actually quite enjoyed it. I'm not saying it's an amazing game, but it's easy to pick up, simple to play, and I'm sure it'll be more fun playing as a two-player game as well.
12, 11. 12. 15. 14. Set ball. 50. 50. Set ball. 50. 60.
Okay guys, last game on the cart is World Rally 2, obviously the sequel to the first game on Gaelco Arcade 1, one of the games I absolutely loved, and this is pretty much more of the same. I'm actually quite impressed that Blaze have got this onto an Evercade cart, because if you try and emulate this on anything else you will pretty much not manage to play the game, because it's designed to be a two-player game. So I'm really impressed at the job that they've done with this game, and obviously Thunder Hoop 2. If you don't believe me, go and try and play these games on any other kind of handheld device. You will probably struggle somewhat. But yeah, you can choose from 3 different cars in this game, and again you've got different difficult settings to start with. I would obviously recommend starting with the easy setting and working your way up. I thought even the easiest setting is actually pretty difficult, and it's obviously all about the timing. Just hold your finger down on that button and just steer as you see the directions on the screen. As I said earlier in the video, it's a bit difficult to play this on a big screen because the graphics are a little bit rough and they don't translate very well to a big screen. On a small monitor and on the handheld, it plays absolutely brilliant, just as good as the first game. And I'll definitely be playing this one a lot. Some of the levels do take a lot to get used to, and obviously as soon as you crash it's pretty much nearly game over, especially the further you get into the game. But no secret, I absolutely love this game and obviously the original game as well. Not sure if this is better yet, still need to play it a little bit more extensively, but it's fantastic. I really like this style of game.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Okay guys, spoiler alert, there is a secret game that can be unlocked if you put in the Gaelco Arcade Collection 1 as well. You unlock the game called Bang, which is a point blank remake apparently. That was the Namco Arcade crosshair shooter game, which obviously you used a light gun to actually play the game. Absolutely fantastic game, but without that light gun I'm not really sure it makes a lot of sense on Evercade, unless Evercade have a light gun up their sleeve that they are going to release some point in the future. Not sure, that would be amazing, but who knows. Playing this with a D-pad probably isn't ideal. It's really difficult to be completely accurate and get those targets on time. So basically you need to hit targets within a time limit to progress through the stages. It is actually really difficult, especially on the D-pad. I'm sure it would be a lot better with a proper light gun. But anyway, here it is. It's not too bad. You never know, maybe in the future we'll have a light gun on the Evercade. You never know. Okay, so what are my final thoughts on Gaelco Arcade Collection 2? There's 6 games, there's a lot of variety in these 6 games, probably more variety that was on the actual first collection, although I think personally the first collection was probably a better collection. There were 6 absolutely amazing games on that. I'm not saying these games aren't amazing, there's probably a couple that I would definitely put there as absolutely amazing, like World Rally 2 and Thunderhoop 2 are absolutely brilliant. The other games sort of range from being good to pretty good, and some of them actually surprised me. It surprised me that Squash and Touch and Go were actually pretty good fun to play. But yeah, I would recommend this cart, guys. It's very good. Only 6 games written off, but it is a very good cart, and there's some good collections. It's a really good return to form after the awful Intellivision 2 collection last month. Really glad that they've added more arcade collections to Evercade. Anyway guys, thanks for watching our video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.